I'll post it now. We are live now. So 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
This is Nifty Culture. I'm Pio, and I have a real honor this morning. This is a real honor right now. We have some absolute NFT, like people that are part of NFT history. We have Joe Looney, the creator of the rare Pepe wallet, and we have Shawn Leary, one of the rare Pepe scientists. How's it going, fellas?
Good. How's it going with
Very
you?
good. Thanks for having us.
It's going really well. Oh, my pleasure. You guys are welcome anytime. To give people context, these emblem vault NFTs, as they're kind of being talked about in the community, because that's how they come up on the Ether activity. What they really are is they're basically wrapped/vaulted rare Pepe NFTs that were created between 2016 and 2018, the earliest of which predate CryptoPunks. They predate Curio cards, and they're all themed, and we're going to pull some up so you can see them. They're all themed with, rare Pepe characters and in really funny situations. And you two were, at the beginning of this project, this movement, and I'm just so excited to dive in. Could maybe we can start with Joe, and then we can move to Shawn and give a little context on who you are and any context you can give on the project.
Sure. Well, Shawn and I, prior to Rare Pepe's, were both involved with the Counterparty project, which is a token platform on Bitcoin that launched in 2014. I think Shawn, as we were talking about the other day, Shawn actually, did you create the Rare Pepe group, the Telegram group? The original
me
one?
and Theo did.
You and Theo did, okay.
The scientist chat. Yeah, the scientist chat.
Well,
the original one is Mike.
Oh, Mike created the original. Oh, you're right. Yeah, Mike created the first
one.
Yeah,
we're still in his chat. Yeah.
Living in Mike's world.
Yeah.
One day at a time. So Mike, who was another person that was involved in Counterparty in now I guess late 2016, September 2016, decided to create a rare Pepe trading card, which was the Nakamoto card that was in CoinDesk. I think late last night they posted an article about it, because that's the big selling one on OpenSea right now. So he posted that in the Telegram chat and just said he's made a few rare Pepe trading cards, and I think he was giving because I just looked at it, he was giving out some shitcoin cards to people in the chat. And yeah, he just put the Nakamoto ones on the Counterparty decks. So at the time, it's like some context, like their NFTs didn't exist. It wasn't like a thing like it is today, obviously. And the only similar thing that was going on was a card game called Spells of Genesis that had used these Counterparty tokens in, I think it was like early 2015, mid 2015, to do crowdfunding for a game they were making. So they created these trading cards. Basically, the tokens looked like the trading cards, and people could collect them, and they used it for crowdfunding. And then those trading cards, I think, were playable in their game. So that was kind of that's really the introduction to NFTs. I mean, I know there was a couple like little projects on Namecoin and stuff prior to that, and some like one-off artist stuff. But the Spells of Genesis was the real first like collectible token, you could say. And it took it took a year later for Rare Pepe to start, and basically for someone to decide, hey, I don't need to wait for a company to make this game token. I can just make a picture and say that's what the token looks like. And that's basically what Mike did. And he created the Nakamoto card. And then it was kind of like this awakening for everyone in Counterparty, because they had been exposed to Spells of Genesis prior to that. Not everyone was into it, but they knew what it was, because it was one of the bigger projects using Counterparty. And it was like this like light bulb moment for so many people in the chat, because prior to that, even people had asked Spells of Genesis, hey, can we have like user created cards and stuff? And they were like, no, we're like doing our own thing, which is understandable. They're a company and they have an artist doing the work. And It's just funny. It took a whole year later for someone to just say, "Oh wait, I don't need permission to do that. I can just do it myself." So that's what Mike did, and then that's kind of why it took off so fast. And the Rare Pepe directory started because Mike created the first 3 Rare Pepes, and then all of a sudden everybody else wanted to make Rare Pepes too. So Shawn, me, Shawn, Mike, Theo, there's another scientist,
Shawn.
and John and a few others and have trickled in and out. J-Dog came in later. So kind of a small group of us decided that we need to kind of create a loose set of rules so that we could have this like curated space for these Pepes. And we didn't want to have because at the time, if you remember, the presidential elections coming up and Pepe becomes a hate symbol. Well, certain Pepes do. So in order to distance ourselves from that, we basically had it had to be safe for work policy for these Pepes. I mean, some of them are like, I guess you could say edgy, but they're all safe for work. There's no Nazi frogs. So we had this directory, and I had built a counterparty wallet like a month prior. It's a thing that a project that I've been working on, had been working on in Counterparty. I built a few wallets leading up to that, and it was just like the perfect thing for, hey, why don't I reskin this wallet and make a Rare Pepe wallet out of it. And the cool thing with Counterparty is the market's built into it. It's like an on-chain DEX. So it was relatively easy for people to start trading and buying and selling Pepes. And at the time, Shapeshift had Counterparty as an option. So you could use Shapeshift, send Bitcoin, get Counterparty, the token. So Counterparty, the platform, also has a token, which is kind of like it's for registering named tokens, kind of like an anti-spam mechanism within Counterparty. And so you could buy that for Bitcoin. So it was easy for people to get in and start trading Pepes. And then Pepe Cash came in like halfway through Series 1. And then I added that as a trading pair in the wallet too. So right from the beginning, it was like a fun thing for anybody could create Pepes, submit them to the scientists. It was like very loose curation rules. It was basically, it's on Rare Pepe directory if you want to look at it. That's like the original, like the how to submit a Pepe. Like that's the original thing from back then. Like hasn't been changed. Directory closed in early 2018, but you can still look at that. It's kind of like historical. If you want to, because you got it up. If you want to pull that up.
I just remember it was instant FOMO for me, you know?
Yeah. So it was just fun.
It was
and more, so like other context too, like this was during the bear market. Like this was 2 years into a bear market in Bitcoin. So there was a lot of, more than 2 years, actually more than 2 years, probably almost 3 years into, not quite, but 2.5 years into a bear market that showed no sign of ending really. So everybody's kind of sick of talking about price and all that kind of stuff. And so Rare Pepes came along and everyone was like this outlet for everybody. So, and because it's accessible to anybody, like anybody can create a Pepe. You don't have to be an artist. Like I'm not an artist. I made some Pepes. Shawn hired an artist to make some Pepes. That was another thing people would do.
Pepe Rare.
So yeah, it was just kind of a fun thing. And then it really took off in 2017. So anyone that's in NFTs now but wasn't around in crypto in 2017, like Rare Pepes actually, like Fred Wilson was asked about them at Consensus. He was talking about them. Like other people, like just big names in the space. Obviously the space wasn't as big then. So yeah, it was, and the
project went viral. And it was natural. It wasn't like you can't force it. And the Venezuela stuff. And John was really feeding his family with Rare Pepes. Max Kaiser was not kidding around when he did that segment on RT. It was crazy. It went from just instant FOMO. I think I bought about 40 Rare Pepe. I paid like $1.50 for each one, or a half a XCP, I think, or 1.5 XCP. So whatever it was back then. The second 150 were 3 XCP. And I sold one on the decks for like $12, and I was like blown away. I'm like, this is really happening, you know? And yeah, it just took off.
It's crazy. I mean, it's so interesting to hear about the history. I love that it's rooted in Bitcoin. We were talking off air, like I'm a Bitcoiner. You know, I love that it's built on Bitcoin. Just everything about it. I'm a big fan, and obviously they're incredibly funny. So you know, the directory's got all of them, and obviously they're all pretty good. You know, some of the better ones, like one of my favorites is Rare Pepe Basquiat. There's a Che Guevara one that I think is pretty funny too. But do you guys have any personal favorites?
I mean, like my first one.
Hair Pepe,
Hair
might
Pepe
be an all-time favorite. And then
Is
one
that
of my
Hair Pepe? I'll search for it.
Yeah, it's Series 1. You can pull it up in Series 1. Yeah, so all the stuff like the series and all that kind of stuff, like that was literally us flying by the seat of our pants. Like, hey, you know, like these things are rare. They'd probably be more rare if we like broke them up into like series of 50 rather than just have a big long list of them. And just all the little like things like that were just really, it was like I was putting together Rare Pepe Wallet like on the fly and getting just like feedback back from people and like what to do and just like building it. People like, and it's I really haven't I haven't updated it much since the directory closed. So it's very close to like what we were using in 2016 to trade Pepe's. So
Joe, have you been looking at your Google Analytics and comparing it to 2017, 2016, 2017 time? Like when Fred Wilson?
Actually, I haven't gone that far back to compare it to 2017. That would be interesting. It's probably similar. It's probably not much bigger. I think the space is just that much bigger. So, but no, I'll do that. I can look at that and compare. I mean, traffic's way up in the last month with Emblem Vaults taking off, but there was a ton of traffic in 2017. It was that's the thing that's kind of funny to me. Like I constantly see people post on Twitter like, "Oh, I wish we had NFTs on Bitcoin," and it's like it's completely ridiculous because it's like it not only have we had them like since 2014, but like it was the precursor to like CryptoKitties and stuff in 2017, and it was pretty popular. Like there was articles, there's a few articles on Vice. There was an article like the Daily Dot did an article like the like newspaper in Paris, Le Monde had like an article on Rare Pepe's, and that like it's just like it was around it was on CoinDesk, Bitcoin.com, a lot of those. So it just shows a lot of people that how being in the space for 4 years is a long time at this point, because I mean, I've been in there longer, but you would know about it if you were here since 2017. So yeah, it's kind of funny how everything's comes full circle again. So when we were seeing NFT mania kind of take off on Ethereum earlier this year, I mean, we were seeing slow upticks in Rare Pepe's and stuff, but it was only a matter of time before people kind of rediscovered it, because it's been putting along since we started the project almost 5 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years is like an absolute lifetime. It's clear I've been in the NFT space since February, and people consider me an OG, you know? So it's like you guys are like the builders of the space. And it's also interesting to see people's buying behavior, because now the word is out, right? The word is out on Rare Pepe's and Emblem Vault, and that there's speculation that this is going to be worth a lot of money. I'm definitely a speculator that thinks the same thing. But a lot of the stuff that you can buy right now on OpenSea, someone else has done the work of acquiring the Pepe and they vaulted it. So they're essentially selling it for a premium. And in some cases, when there's 10,000 plus, sometimes like 1 million plus Pepes that were minted, like the zombie Pepe, for example, that's a real premium, because the supply on those are completely insane. And at any given time, the people that hold those hundreds of thousands of Pepes could flood the OpenSea market with them. It just creates such interesting market dynamics. And I think that there's the steepest learning curve of any project that's catching fire right now in this space. And I think Spells of Genesis is the name of the project?
Yeah, and you'll see those on Emblem Vault. Like if you watch the activity on the Emblem Vaults, like that's pretty much what the other things are that you see popping up on there, are Spells of Genesis cards. And so those predate Most of them do. I'm not sure if they made any after Rare Pepe started, but I'm pretty sure most of the Spells of Genesis cards predate Rare Pepes. But they were they're like Magic cards. I mean, they almost look like Magic cards.
2015.
Yeah. So they were. I like to say like the Rare Pepes basically was when was kind of the beginning of crypto art, because it was at that moment that people realized they could create the art, pair it with the token, and sell it, and there was a market there. So that was really that was kind of the. And the other big thing with that too was there's no utility to a Pepe, which is kind of funny. I think people in NFT, like another thing, if you were around in 2017, like the big thing was utility tokens, like that. All those ICOs that happened in 2017 was they talked about, oh, we're going to build this thing and we're going to sell this utility token. So you need this token to run in this platform that we build. And kind of the beauty of Rare Pepes was there is no utility. And I think, to be honest, NFTs in general, like you could add utility to it later, but the base token, it doesn't need to do anything. And I think that's the real innovation. Once people realize, oh, it doesn't have to have a purpose. I could just collect it because I want to collect it. That was really the inflection point, I would say. And then that's when you start seeing, I think people start experimenting in Ethereum. And actually one of the first projects that I don't think it ever actually launched, but it was in the works, was a Rare Pepe ripoff on Ethereum called was it Peperium? And we used to joke about it. We used to call it Pooperium. And anytime it would come up in the chat, we would just call it Pooperium. And we ended up, I think the guys just got so like ridiculed that they ended up just like leaving the chat and not doing it. So, and I don't think that
there was another.
But there was some more.
Remember the other project? Remember the other project that was Pepe Coin, and then they switched to Meme Coin, and then they tried to come back to Pepe. Oh, we're Pepe again.
Yeah, so that was its own blockchain, and I think that one of the big values of Counterparty is that it's Bitcoin. Like it lives on Bitcoin, so you don't have to worry about like it utilizes Bitcoin's network. So there's no like kind of small like other blockchains and small shitcoins and stuff can't. They have to worry about like the network uptime and like their nodes communicating correctly and all that kind of stuff. Counterparty doesn't really have to worry about any of that. And actually Counterparty nodes don't even talk to each other. They only talk to Bitcoin. So that's one of the reasons that, I mean, these were from 2015 and there was the Spells of Genesis these are from 2016, starting Spells of Genesis 2015, and they're still around. You can still trade them because the Counterparty software is still chugging along, because it's a little. I know J-Dog's gonna be mad if I say it's really easy to run, but it's not easy to run. It's just easier than if you're to try to run your own chain. So yeah, that's definitely a big value, and plus the market is built in. Like what was really cool with Rare Pepe is on Rare Pepe Wallet, it's all on chain, it's all decentralized. Like Rare Pepe Wallet just is like a client side application that you use to access this market. But there's no escrow or anything in Rare Pepe Wallet. It's escrow, like when you put your Pepes up for sale, it gets escrowed on chain. So it was actually one of the real first kind of decentralized marketplaces, and it really the Counterparty DEX never saw the activity that it saw until Pepe's showed up, and then all of a sudden the DEX became like this lively place, and everybody's trading Pepe's on it.
There was a couple of Bitcoin blocks too that were almost all Counterparty transactions. Weren't there like 80% in a couple blocks, like during the very peak, like in the fall of 2016?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could go back. I mean, all the data is there. You can certainly crunch the numbers and see. I know I had tweeted a few days ago that like 3% of one of the Bitcoin blocks I had looked at was Rare Pepe transactions. That was like 2 days ago, which is kind of funny. It's like this is the global reserve currency, and 3% of the network is Rare Pepes.
I mean, do guys, like, you have no, like, when I found this, and like you've seen me on Twitter, I have the Pepe. It's a custom Pepe as my picture that one of our viewers, made. So I'm really happy about that. But when I found out I could buy these things, and I'm just looking through them and they're so funny, I loved it so much. Like, I haven't even seen this one. This one's awesome. Like, I want to buy this one now. But it looks like, I think there's only 200 ever made. So I bet the premium on this is insane. Like, have you guys been paying attention to the prices that these things are selling for?
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
unbelievable.
it's kind of hard not to see it. It's fun to follow the. There's an Emblem Vault bot that tweet. It was funny because it used to tweet all sales above 1 ETH, and then I guess that got to be too much, and now it's all sales above 2 ETH that it tweets. So it'll be interesting to see how that bot ticks up as the market heats up. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of speculation. Who knows what NFTs are going to do? I mean, everyone. I never expected what we've seen this year. I mean, even like the end of last year with the Beeple rare Pepe going for $69 million, and that's another thing too. It's like I've always just called all NFTs rare Pepes, so it's kind of been a funny thing. It's funny that NFT took off as like the term everybody knows. But yeah, no, I mean the NFT space is insane right now. So I mean, who knows what's going to happen? But it's certainly fun to watch, and it's funny because we made a bunch of memes in 2016 about like Pepe's putting your kids through college and all this kind of stuff, and it's like it's actually true now. A lot of these memes,
it's literally true. It's unbelievable. Like, a pal of mine who was on the stream that I did where we first kind of walked through I think you guys might have mentioned on Twitter that you watched it. He really helped me out, and he got me one of them. It's on my OpenSea account. I can't pull it up right now, but that one sold for 1 ETH in the past like 8 days, and then 3 or 4 days later it sold for 2 ETH. So like these things are really starting to tick up. And when I look at this one, for example, what people don't know is there were real steals on OpenSea. If you were watching that market, there's 111 issued of this one. I was able to buy it for 0.38 ETH, and there were 10 of them in the pack. So at this point, I control 10% almost of the supply, and the work is in breaking the vault open, cracking it open. I had to do that. Now it's back on Rare Pepe Wallet, and now I have to revault them individually if I want to sell them one by one. But I think a lot of people don't understand the learning curve. But once that picks up, like, I think it's going to take more time. And now we're seeing real movement with Spells of Genesis combined with curio cards going to Christie's and Sotheby's, combined with Crypto Arte. I don't know. Crypto Arte is like bubbling under. I wouldn't be surprised if that one pops. This one, I think, is going to go nuts. I mean, I'm talking as a speculator right now, but I think that rare Pepes are going to go nuts if those old projects end up blowing up at auction.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, sky's the limit.
Crazier things have happened.
If a rare Pepe was worth $3 million, then the entire market cap of rare Pepe would be 900 million, almost $1 billion. I mean, it's just doesn't. I mean,
well,
it looks like it's happening.
Someone sent me a message the other day on Telegram that based on the like the $400,000 sale or something of rare Pepe, if you take all of the Nakamoto card, if you take all of them combined, add them together and consider that one piece of art, it's actually the most expensive piece of art ever sold, which would make Mike the artist that has the most valuable piece of art that's ever been sold, living or dead, which is hilarious because that's the kind of thing we would have made a meme about 5 years ago. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but then you look at that too, and you're like, well, is that sustainable? Well, I don't know. It certainly doesn't seem sustainable, but like, I don't know. I mean, NFT space it's definitely like the Wild West, and it feels a lot like 2013 shitcoining, where like everybody was. Like Bitcoin was going up really, and everybody was like, "Oh, what are all these other coins?" And you could like, "Oh, I can make," or even maybe 2017, where everybody was like, "Oh, this thing's just doubling every day. I can buy this. Oh, this is 2 cents. It's going to be 10 cents by the end of the week." Like, obviously, there was a big crash in the fall of 2017. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know that that's sustainable. I mean, to say right now it's the most expensive piece of art ever made is hilarious. And so, I mean, I hope it keeps it up so we can keep saying it.
Made on Microsoft Paint. You know, that's the best part.
I love
think
it.
he had
I
a
can't
rule
get
like
enough.
he'd only use Microsoft Paint for those first cards, and we all kind of did that at first. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, well, that's the thing with Rare Pepe is it was so fun. Like you, like in a lot of ways, the shittier the better. When you were drawing your Pepes, we actually did have one of the rules in submitting a Pepe was no low effort. It couldn't be low effort. And so, I mean, sometimes things that are low effort are funny, and so they get through. But we had a few. I don't think we ever had a person that like the way you would submit a Rare Pepe is you had to burn Pepe cash. So we weren't even getting paid. Like this was literally just like a group of us that loved Rare Pepes, and we wanted to like curate the directory, and I was running the wallet, and I wanted to make sure any Pepes that were going up on there was something that I would feel like comfortable hosting a website where the image appears. So you would burn Pepe cash, and I don't think we had anybody that burned Pepe cash and didn't get to submit a Pepe, but we had a few where we had to send it. We sent it back to them and said they had to do better, put some more effort into this and send it back. But they were really. I mean, those ones were really bad. Actually, you can look at one of my favorite ones if you want to look it up, which is like. Maybe low effort. I don't know. Maybe this guy spent a lot of time on it. Hard to say, but it's Pepe Peanuts. I don't know if you've seen that one, but if you search for that one.
Pepe Peanuts.
On that Twitter Spaces the other night, it was interesting to hear Hansel talk about his efforts and how he was trying to like line up his art pieces. Because I mean, some of them took a lot of time for him to make. So he was trying to get them in before the directory closed. And I thought that was really interesting to hear because none of mine took that long, you know?
There it is. This might be one.
It's just Pepe and Peanuts.
This is a top 5. This is a top 5 Rare Pepe for me. Because first will always be first. Because monkey business matter.
So funny, man.
Yeah, so there were artists from all over the world too that were doing these. So you have a lot that are just like broken English and stuff, which is like pretty kind of funny in and of itself. But it was great. It was just something everyone could participate in. I mean, you didn't even need to be able to if you could just figure out how to burn Pepe cash to submit a Pepe. I mean, you didn't need to speak English well to get your Pepe into the directory. Another thing to
bring up
remember.
Bring up Hair Pepe. Bring up
Absolutely.
Pepe.
Yeah, another thing to remember too with these things is they're created by the artists themselves. So all we did as scientists was curate them to show them in the directory, but they were. Yeah, this is one of the best.
I've seen
ones.
this one. This one's
hilarious. So we're working on trying to get it rebooted, but we had a members only Telegram chat called the Salon. And to get in the salon, you had to have a smooth haired Pepe.
It made people want more. It was fun.
Right, there's 1,000 supply of this.
He bought like 400 of them. There's a guy, his name was Hal, and he bought.
Yeah, we don't know what happened.
A whale. He just.
Yeah.
If you look at the highest holder of Hair Pepe, and the wallet hasn't moved in like 3-4 years, so it's crazy. But yeah, the chat was fun because the Kickbot would make you sign a message showing your address, and if you remove that asset from your wallet, the Kickbot would kick you out of the chat room. So you had to be a holder to be in that room. It was pretty neat. We also had it for Pepe Cash too. Like the whales had different chats, and once you dumped, then the whales would know, hey, someone just dumped. Everyone go and try to see what's happening on the exchange.
Booted out of the chat.
Yeah, you get booted. Yeah, all of a sudden someone's missing.
I just love that it wasn't about making money. It was about having fun. And I think that that's a big part of the NFT space. Obviously, a lot of people are making a lot of money in NFTs right now. But I think the thing that draws people in and that keeps people in is like real, sort of, childhood level fun, where it's like a trading game and some of the stuff is funny and some of the stuff is really cool art and some of it just is actually really special to people. So you guys brought up like 2017 ICO. Of course, I think that's an incredibly natural comparison, right? But the difference, I think, is that there is like an emotional connection to the NFTs, whereas with like some shitcoin, there's no emotional connection. It doesn't do anything anyway. And even though the NFT doesn't do anything, at least there's a picture of a Pepe.
Yeah, no,
I think it took off. I think it took off because it's so decentralized. You have 1,774 cards, and each person is the CEO of their card, and they're going to shill it. They're going to try to get it out there. They're going to try to sell it, trade it. And they're all shareholders in the project. And the price of entry was, a few thousand in Pepe Cash and the XCP they had to burn to create the asset. So I think that's what gives it so much power.
And Shawn, can you talk about the Rare Pepe scientists and just, how that kind of went down and what got you involved, the history behind that?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think when things start to take off, you kind of cling to people you know. And I didn't know Joe yet, but I'd seen him do a podcast with DeRose, and so I knew he was involved in the space. But Theo, we had chatted through TeamSpeak, through Mumble rather, over some football betting. And so right away, I'm like, I see him in the chat. He's into it. Dude, let's start the Rare Pepe Foundation. And it will be a nonprofit. It's a parody of the Bitcoin Foundation, which was a joke as it was back then. So we wanted to make a parody of it. And we started the chat, and that became the scientist chat as more people joined, John and Joe. Some devs that we invited said, this is too rare for me, I'm out, and didn't want to help. And so we still mess with them about that. But that was kind of the beginning of the scientist part of it. And the meme scientist kind of started, I think Mike started making a scientist, like a lab person with a microscope, and had like a crooked Pepe underneath the microscope, and you see him like looking down. I'm like, yes, this is perfect meme. So we kind of ran with that. And then there's the farewell message. I wanted Joe to bring that up if we get to it, because we finally closed it, and it was we both, he showed it me again yesterday, and I was like tearing up. It's hard.
Yeah, it's especially
such
poignant
a
now.
fun time.
But yeah, before we get to that, I would say one of the funny things that looking into some history the last few weeks on going through old Telegram chats and stuff, the first 1,000 Pepes were hand curated by Mike, who made the Nakamoto card. It wasn't until like the 1001 Pepe that we actually had like a John made a Telegram bot so that people could, like, it was like automated submissions. Prior to that, Mike would like manually check. He'd check the counterpart. I don't even know if it was X chain at that point. I think it was counterparty chain was the block explorer or block scan, which became Etherscan, by the way, which is another like little tidbit. I think a lot of people don't realize that Etherscan was a prior to being an Ethereum block explorer, like the main one that everyone uses, it was called block scan, and it was for counterparty. So it's a little the history is there if people want to look into it. It's kind of funny how Counterparty has been this underdog project for years, just because a lot of Bitcoiners don't like it because it's spamming the Bitcoin blockchain. So Bitcoin purists don't like it. And then other people don't like it because it's on Bitcoin. So it's like you got this group of Bitcoiners that are also like making Rare Pepes or like Rare Pepes, and I think it's a bigger group. Shawn and I were both at the conference in Miami in June, and it was a lot more people that I thought at the Bitcoin conference that were into Rare Pepes. So I think a lot of it's just like loud people on Twitter that maybe aren't into it, but yeah. So I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah. So Mike, but Mike, yeah, Mike deserves a ton of credit. I mean, obviously, he deserves a ton of credit because he created the first Rare Pepe, and none of us would be here talking about it if he hadn't done that. But he also hand curated 1,000 Pepes. People manually sending him the art, him checking to make sure that the token issuance was locked, so they couldn't create more Pepes. Checking to make sure that it wasn't divisible, and he missed a few. So like if you go through the Rare Pepe directory, like a couple got through that are divisible. But that was just because like Mike was getting so many that he just missed it. And then at that point, once it's in, it's like, well, it's in. So we got to just let let it be. So like Lord Keck is divisible, but it was never supposed to be. It was like Mike was probably doing that at like 2 o'clock in the morning and just missed it and added it. He would manually add it to a JSON file using a text editor. He would add the new Pepes, and then Rare Pepe Wallet would check the Rare Pepe directory. And so it was fun for me because I would like go to bed and I'd wake up in the morning to see all the new Pepes that Mike had like added overnight, so I could like see if the artist had put them up for sale, so I could buy some. And so yeah, it was fun. We definitely knew. I mean, everybody that was into Rare Pepes early on knew we were on to something. And it's extremely validating now, like with the NFT Mania and stuff, that it really was this this kind of like pivotal project for this like I almost see it as it is like the killer app of like crypto. And you see all the people that are getting into crypto now that are like aren't into it because they think like alternate money is cool. They're into it because they can collect these like funny things on the internet. So yeah, I definitely think it's a game changer.
Well, I can only imagine how rewarding it must be to finally, like, see this thing that you were, doing years ago. And maybe while you were doing it, you felt like, this could be something, but really, who knows? I can't even imagine like having something like that, come to fruition like this. Going through this directory, man, there's so many that are supply of 100 or less that are so good. Just for the sake of our viewers that are probably getting pretty excited about Rare Pepes right now, can you give any tips on how to acquire these things at this point? If they do see one that they really like, that might be on the rarer side, that isn't on OpenSea, that isn't on the Rare Pepe wallet website, like any tips for where to go to acquire these things?
I would say if it's not up for sale if you have ETH and obviously OpenSea, you're going to pay a premium, but that's going to be your easiest way. If it's not there, you might just want to wait a week or two because a lot of them are popping up on there. The artists are. It's all these people that were into Rare Pepes a few years ago, and they may not even be into crypto now, but somehow they're tangentially finding out that, Rare Pepes are popular again. So they're digging up their old wallets and figuring out how to wrap Pepe. So it's kind of happening. It's funny how it's kind of happening on both sides. Like people into Ethereum have to learn how to use Counterparty and Bitcoin if they want to get good deals on Pepes. And then people that were into Bitcoin and Counterparty have to learn how to use Ethereum now if they want to sell their Pepes for a premium. So it's like it's this forced learning for everybody, which is actually really fun to watch for me because it's like this profit and it's all the things like projects I was into, like being into Counterparty early on. It's like you ask people, hey, you got to check this out, and they're like, yeah, whatever. But it's like now all these people are like financially incentivized to check this stuff out and learn about it and like discover that it is pretty cool and it is like this fun platform and application that kind of gets in a lot of ways has been written out of history in a lot of respects. But I was always under the impression, I always felt that can't happen forever, right? Because it's on chain. That's why we made Rare Pepes on Bitcoin. So they're there as long as Bitcoin's there. So yeah, as far as if you see one you like, and if you don't see it on Rare Pepe Wallet for sale, if you don't see it on OpenSea, go into the Telegram chat, go into the Discord, and just ask, because somebody might know somebody, or somebody might know the person that made it, or somebody might have bought one from that person directly and have their Telegram handle and can contact them or have them. There are kind of ways to do some archaeology and try to figure out who made them. You can look at the addresses, and
there's still some good deals on the decks. The premiums on OpenSea, they're up there. It's like double what you can find on the decks. So inside Rare Pepe Wallet, just this morning there was Pepe Wave, which is like a synth wave, Microsoft kind of retro 80s Pepe, 90s. And he was wanting 2 or 3 ETH, and I immediately went to Rare Pepe Wallet, clicked on that one to make sure I had that Pepe. I still had 3 of them, but I wanted more because I like it, and I just FOMO. And so I clicked on XCP, and they only wanted 70 XCP for it, which I don't even really know how much XCP costs, but I had some. So I think that's a good way to do it. Just there's still stuff is popping up. People that know how to use the decks are there. There is a little bit of a learning curve, but man, Rare Pepe wallet is pretty easy. You put a little bit of Bitcoin in there, and
No, that's a good point that Shawn made, though, is kind of one of the ways that if you don't have XCP, which is the counterparty token, or you don't have Pepe Cash, which are the two trading pairs to buy and sell Pepes in Rare Pepe wallet, you could always buy some Pepes on OpenSea, put them into your Rare Pepe wallet, and then sell them for XCP or Pepe Cash. That's kind of what all of us would do when we were still making Rare Pepes. That's what I would do. I would use any proceeds from a Rare Pepe that I made and sell it and use it to buy more Pepes, because now you're in the market, right? Because you're selling it for XCP, you're selling it for Pepe Cash. So that's one of the way. If rather than trying it, because I know XCP is hard to get, Pepe Cash, there are some exchanges, but they're kind of like the shady offshore. Maybe they're not shady. I shouldn't say that, but they're not the Coinbase. They're not they're not the big finance. They're not the big exchanges. So it might take longer to get your money out. You might have issues with it. So yeah, if you want to buy, and actually that would be interesting if people start wrapping, like you said, you got a pack of 10. That would be the ideal way to enter the market, would be to buy a vault with multiple Pepes in it, maybe some you don't want, and then you could turn around and sell those within the wallet, and now you're in. You have Pepe Cash or you have XCP within the wallet, and then all you need is Bitcoin to transact. And there's a third marketplace. Actually, there's another marketplace within Counterparty, which are dispensers, which I don't even really want to get into, because you really need to know what you're doing to mess with those, because you can lose your money if you don't do it right. But if you think you're ready to go to level 2 of Rare Pepe trading, look into dispensers. But another market you can look at is scarce.city, which they've been around selling physical Bitcoin art. It's an auction site. I think they have a marketplace for some physical art now too. But what they did is they started a marketplace for Rare Pepes. So if you just go to scarce.city, there's a little icon of a frog in the corner, and you can click on that. And then if you have Bitcoin, you can just buy Pepes directly on there. Obviously, the thing that happens when you have multiple marketplaces is you get price skewing between marketplaces. So if you're really trying to get a good deal, you're going to have to do a lot of research and check the different marketplaces. But I think Pepe Nation is a good deal on this one, because I'm in the Scarce City Telegram chat, which announces all the sales, and I think there's something like 40 Pepe Nation were sold yesterday. So that might be a good entry point into Rare Pepes. That's the 4th card. There's a 10,000 issuance, which is actually the first 10,000 issuance. So it's almost like the crypto punk of Rare Pepes. And it's $150.
And it's the first one made by the community.
Yeah, and it's really shitty. So it's if that's what you look for.
Theo apologizes for that card. Yeah,
that's what you look. If that's what you look for in a Rare Pepe, then that might be the card for you. And there's bonus content for that one too. I think there's a Theo original track that can be. If you have that in your wallet and you flip your card around in Rare Pepe wallet, you'll see a button that says bonus content, and you'll be able to listen to the. I think it might be the national anthem of Pepe Nation that plays. So,
this is just so fun.
That was my first one.
The good. It's tough to, and you guys can hear me, right? Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, okay. I'm on mobile.
The good stuff is hard to figure out. Yeah, no problem. The good stuff is hard to figure out. There's so many different platforms. There's definitely a steep learning curve, but that's part of the fun. And if you're into digging and into trying to find collectibles, if you're the type of person that goes to yard sales and stuff, then I feel like this is what you would love to kind of dig into. So we're on the scarce.city site right now. A lot of this stuff isn't cheap, right? There's a considerable amount of Bitcoin you got to spend on some of this stuff. Like this one right here looks like is an issuance of 50, so it's a 1 Bitcoin fee. So that's not for everybody. I want to call out, while we were talking, I found that Shawn is an artist. We have his whole directory here. This is one of my favorites for sure, Shawn. I love it, man.
Yeah,
I love it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, thanks. Biggie Pepe, I messed up on the lips. I need to make him more frog-like. He looked kind of clownish, but Yeah, no, it's fun. It was fun. Dank Pepe is my first one, and that was card 5, and it people like it. It's hot. So
And you did the art for Shrem Pepe,
I
right?
think it's. I
Did you
did.
put those
I
images
was
together?
chatting with. I did. I did. I was chatting with Charlie. I asked him if he wanted a Pepe. He said, yeah. He said my only request is that you make it as hairy as possible. And so I thought I'm just going to turn him into a freaking spider monkey or whatever the thing was. So those are his eyes, his nose, and his mouth. That's
That
actually
one's
his.
good. That's a good. That might be
Yeah,
your best
and
original,
that's the
Shawn.
bit. That's the bit. That's the bit instant logo in the background, which is actually really hard to find. That's where the company he got in trouble for and went to prison.
Oh
But
damn!
yeah, they're fun.
Wow. Well, I mean, we've
But notice
kind of.
how.
Go ahead.
Sorry. No,
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 go
no.
ahead.
It's good. Oh, I was saying that if you notice, there's sometimes there's little messages in the card, right? And so if you scroll down to what it says, it here. Let me see. Winkle
One of
Pepe.
the
So the Winklevoss is they kind of like, if you go back in the history, they kind of turned on him. And so that's just part of it. If Winkle Pepe's played, then this card isn't as strong. Because anyway, so that was my little dig into the history. So
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I love all the stuff. I love all the little references and everything like that. I'd say that we kind of dug into the surface here, right? We got a little bit deeper than the surface, but you can go like so deep into the rabbit hole on this stuff. It's amazing. It was just a pleasure, to have you guys on. Everyone can follow Joe and Shawn at Shawn Leary, at Was That a Wolf for Joe. And, I've been seeing you guys pop up in like voice chats on Twitter Spaces and stuff like that, just talking rare Pepes. It's so much fun. And like, who knows what's going to happen over the next 2 months. I think like in the next 2 months, things could get pretty wild.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We love your energy, man.
Oh, yeah, it's easy to have energy when you're looking at shrimp Pepe. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
True. It's true.
Here, let me real quick. Let me show you on my OpenSea the one that I was talking about because I think it's pretty sick. And I'm curious if you have any story behind this one, just because it's special to me because I own it. Let me pull it up one sec. Where is it at? There he is. Whoa, Pepe. Nope, not that. That pales in comparison to a Pepe. Not even close. Here we go. Whoa, Pepe, baby.
Oh yeah, this one's good.
That is a good card.
I think this was an ICQ commission piece. So ICQ is a one of our beloved characters within the Telegram chat, and I think the artist is actually does it say the artist in that corner in the
it's Skin Cube.
Yeah, I think he's like a pretty legit artist, like digital artist.
That's great art.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's a good
but
find.
I think that's what that one. I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive that's what that one is.
I can't take credit for the find. That's my guy Gillies, who's an animal and has just been all over this Pepe stuff. Got some crazy ones. But this one has sold for, again, 1 ETH and 2 ETH in the past week. And I don't know about more sales, but I know about those too. And here, one last one. I'm going to shout out to my guy, Lucky Ones. He was on Rare Pepes before anyone else that I know was on Rare Pepes, and he sniped this one. And I saw that guy that's been doing a lot of Pepe stuff on Twitter, Daniel. He posted about this one recently too. But Lucky Ones, he picked it up weeks ago for 1 ETH, and it's a major, major find. This one's absolutely badass. I knew it as soon as I saw it. Absolutely badass. Check this one out.
Oh yeah, this one's great.
Vintage.
Yeah, the Honest Wagner Pepe. Yeah, I mean that's the cool thing with Pepe's too. Like they're like this one's great because it's like a play on the most expensive baseball card ever, right? And it's kind of they use transparency in it to like crop it like the old style baseball card, which is really cool. There's a few other Pepes that use transparency in kind of an interesting way, like to make their Pepes less card like. So those are pretty cool too. But yeah, this one's great. This is definitely a classic.
Super sick. Well, I think we lost Shawn for a second, but we're wrapping up. Again, it was a real pleasure having you guys. Everyone, just make sure you follow Shawn and Joe. If you're into Pepe's, now's the time to get in. I guess, I don't know. Who knows where this is going to go? But it's a lot of fun. They're incredibly cool, and they are definitely a piece of history. Again, thanks for coming on, guys. You guys are welcome anytime.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Shawn, I think we lost you, man, but it was great having you. And I'll see you guys on Twitter.
All right. Take it